Once again, it's on. It's about that time for you to kick back, relax, and join the groove. It's a party, but it's a sporty one on a Monday morning, right here from Lagos, Nigeria to the world. My name is Sola Rogers, and I bid you a warm welcome to Finix Sports. My name is Sola Rogers, and I am not alone. Got the man himself in the building, live and direct, Cornelius.
Again. Good morning to you. Good morning to all our listeners out there. And if you're streaming on YouTube, I bid you a special morning as we run through a lot of sports stories from this beautiful weekend of fantastic sport events.
That's what it is from this beautiful weekend of fantastic sporting events, like he said. And we are definitely going to kick off with the story of a shooting star out of the blue from nowhere, especially for those of you who have not been following sports. A star is born, and his name is very simple: Jered Ejiasian.
Indeed, a star is born, Shola, and what this boy has achieved at a very tender age is simply remarkable. I mean, you can tell a star. You can tell when a star is born, and there is no doubt, Shola. Claims calling this boy a star. He's definitely one very shining star.
Shining star he is, and why are we saying that? At 18, it's under 18 actually, he set a world record at the indoor hurdles. We're talking 60 meters hurdles, and already people are mentioning his name in the same bracket with Toby Amusan.
Yeah, big comparison. And again, that just emphasizes the gravity of what he's done. He's set a new time record for his age out there in France, where he flies his trade. And you can't help but imagine where this has to be the beginning of something special, where was seen happen unfold before our very eyes.
Something special is happening in Nigerian athletics, and we are excited about it. We're still staying with athletics. There's a whole lot that's happening in and around the world of athletics, and of course Nigerians are pulling their weight. They're making it go down the way we want it to be, and the Niger Delta games are also on. A lot of things are happening out there in Benin, and Cornelius, I know that we really didn't plan to go there, but let's just run through briefly the Niger Delta games and some of the things that we have observed, especially when you talk about how amazing this has been. We already talked about Jered and what he has done, but there are other stars coming through. And one of the things about the Niger Delta games, Cornelius, is that there's no overage athletes allowed to compete here. And all the people you see are actually, people who have been screened. Beyond that, it's the second edition out there in Benin, and Delta State, yeah, you won't be surprised, is already pulling their weight. They more or less have made the 100 meters their property. You get Osama Chibueze, Ejiro Peter, they both got gold in the 100 meters final, and it was actually their career best also for Delta State at the Niger Delta Games.
Oh yeah, over 3,000 athletes started competing at the Niger Delta Games, and there's no surprise talking about the Deltas winning the winning the 100 meters, like you spoken about Ejiro Peters. But not to mention the Benin team doing fantastic. They're on top of the table in the swimming category. And of course, the beauty about all this is the way the way the organizers have actually done a good job putting this together. And it's always beautiful to see when grassroots sports is showcased in this country. I feel like we don't do enough of it. But, kudos to all the organizers of this one, and I'm wishing all the athletes out there best of luck, and of course, not to mention the results coming out of there.
Of course, we will be bringing you more of this in the 7 o'clock hour on Radio Josman, and of course during the Boomba right here on your Boom Radio NG. Right, let's also move away from that. Before we go foreign, let's talk NPFL. Cornelius, you got this.
NPFL, the NPFL seems level of the NPFL seems to be actually improving, and I think that has to do with some of the new teams that have come in. Called Barua, one of them, of course, Kun, another one, and of course, it was a beautiful game week of football in the NPFL. Especially, I have to highlight the Shooting Star games. Shooting Star scoring 4 goals at home to Warri Wolves. You understand all the results. So table toppers, Ikorodu City lose away at Eimba. El Kanami Warriors won at home to Plateau United, and of course Barua, like I spoke of earlier, were victorious at home to Kun Khalifa. And of course, Bayelsa United played out a 0-0 stalemate with Bendel. Of course, Remo Stars also played out a draw against Abia Warriors, while Kwara United and Enugu Rangers had a win. Of course, Kwara United were held at home. And of course, Katsina United won at home to Nasarawa United.
Okay, a quick run through of the NPFL, but not looking good for Remo, even with a draw, because how are you champions one moment and the next moment you're fighting relegation?
This one, I really don't understand what's happening with the Remo team. I feel like maybe it has to do with a lot of distractions. I think maybe the player sales, the way they were obviously, playing continental football last season. And, I feel like as if, the players, that have had to leave the club, even some of the officials being a part of
the Super
Eagles team, I don't know if that has had an effect on that team, because it's hard to explain, how such a good team from just 1 year ago, seems to be struggling, definitely struggling at this point in the NPFL.
All right, struggling in the NPFL it is, but guess what we want to do? We want to switch gears and go talk Premier League football. And of course, a lot of people were expecting certain results, especially the North London derby. This is like the proper North London derby, if you ask me. I'm not saying that the others are not derbies too, but let's say this is probably the biggest one, talking about the rivalry between the Gunners and, of course, Spurs. But before all of that, Cornelius, let's get a rundown of what happened at the weekend.
It was a weekend of fantastic football, of course, crowned by that result. It's obviously everybody, the drama is on a title race between Manchester City and Arsenal, who can hold their nerves, who will snooze, and all of that. But it was, it was a fantastic run of games over the weekend, where we saw the North London derby, and with Arsenal winning that one, doing a double over their English counterparts.
Doing a double over their English counterpart, but I thought you were going to go a little bit more in depth on these games, because we know that the title race is getting hotter, and right now a lot of people have already said Arsenal have been here many times and they have a feeling that they're not going to go all the way, while some people are saying, look, this is the time for Arsenal to actually steady the ship and eventually, prove all naysayers wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can understand why Arsenal fans will be sitting at the edge of their seats right now, and why some of them are not so optimistic. I mean, if you look at that Arsenal team, on paper, one of the best teams in Europe. I mean, and of course, they're in a similar position like they've been in the last 2 seasons at least. And for some reason, they bottled it up. Just some weeks ago, you would have said, okay, with the points they had, they had some leverage. But right now, not so. Even though it seems like as if they are on top of the table, the realistic fact is all City needs to do to turn that over is win all their games. If City wins all their games, regardless of what Arsenal does, City wins the league. And you see, that's the position Arsenal, some weeks ago, cannot explain why they are in this position right now. It seems to be a mental thing that seems to be the problem with the team, and I feel like, as if you ask me, that problem has been there since the days of Arsene Wenger. It's something that has I think is somewhat infected the DNA of the club side. I mean, look at like I was telling you earlier off camera, we're talking about Unai Emery, who so-called the European Cup specialist. with Arsenal, he got to the final and couldn't win it. It was a mentality thing. You see Aubameyang flopping his lines. Just this way it happened. Arsenal flopped their lines 2 seasons ago. So I don't blame a lot of Arsenal fans out there being optimistic, who are not so optimistic at the moment that Arsenal can actually pull through this time.
All right, I would like to state it here that while it is true that no Arsenal fan has ever tweeted that they have won the league, the reason why people say that is that the last time Arsenal won the league, there was no Twitter. I make bold to say, and you guys better not make me look bad. I make bold to say that this is the season that Arsenal fans will tweet that they have won the league. My name is Sola Rogers, and I say that.
Well, Sola Rogers, from on behalf of all the Arsenal fans, we will thank you for your optimism. Even though it is difficult for the real Arsenal fans to actually feel that much optimistic, considering the way the results have been coming out over for the last couple of weeks. I mean,
a big shout out to Kunle Faji Ibitayo. Arsenal go win. No worry. He's watching on Facebook at the moment. Arsenal go win.
I mean, it's a mentality thing. We know how good the team is, and of course we know of Pep Guardiola's pedigree. Once he goes, he's done it before, and he can do it again. Put together a run, an unbeaten run.
I need you to speak closer to the microphone.
To the end of the season, and of course, Arsenal loses the league again. But it's interesting to see how pounds outcomes me. But I say one thing though, on behalf of all Arsenal fans, I feel like if Arsenal actually win the Carling Cup, then there's a strong chance they actually win the league. Because I feel like it's a mentality thing for Arsenal.
Well, that's the word of the day. It's a mentality thing from Cornelius. He believes that the nerves of steel that is required by Arsenal will come out if they win the Carling Cup against the team that's chasing them and all of that. And this is already set up to be another fantastic squeaky bomb time, where anything can happen in football. But I put my neck on the line once again. Let's leave my neck out. I put my name actually, which is even bigger, on it, and I believe that it's Arsenal's league to lose, so they would not lose it. At least, if not for anything, let a new generation of Arsenal fans, come to the party that they deserve. Enough of the banter and the jokes. It's been going on for 20 plus years. I think is enough, and I say this boldly, and I say it without any fear or favor. I'm saying it that I believe that Arsenal's got this. So your Arsenal fans, stay behind the team, get behind the team, and don't give up.
Well, I'm sure the Arsenal fans will probably send you a bottle or something when they do win the league. That's if they do win the league. Let's go straight to the relegation battle, and it is a relegation battle. It is a 5-man race, a relegation battle in my own opinion. Mathematically, any position from 14th down will get relegated. You understand? All it takes is put a couple of wins together, and you'll be climbing up real fast on this table right in front of me. Now, obviously, it is strange to see the likes of Tottenham Hotspur, flopping down there in 16th position. All the headlines around the world today is weighing up that possibility. Will Tottenham actually be relegated? Because if they are in any kind of illusion, you get me, they are in the battle. In the
Arsenal, they don't
battle.
Do them any favors at all.
With that 4-1 victory, and of course that also injured their goal difference. You understand, considering the fact the likes of
Let me ask you. Last season, Tottenham's Hotspurs actually played in the European finals against Man United, and they won.
Yeah, that's by virtue of where Postecoglou, had gotten them, and of course, I call that final from last year the battle of the losers, because they're playing with Manchester United, and of course they were both close to the relegation zone, and of course Tottenham, was triumphant in that one.
Now the reason why I went that far is that last season they won Europa and qualified for Champions League, and they sacked the coach.
I mean, and I don't understand what it is. We used to think it was Daniel Levy that was, the shrewd man up there. And you know what Daniel Levy did when he was at Tottenham was, he stayed with that ship. They were competing, in the Champions Leagues. You get me? I think they got the final as well in the Champions League. You get me? Almost threatened to lead the league ahead of Arsenal in a number of times. You get me? I mean, and for some reason I don't know. Now Daniel Levy is left, and the club seems to be going in one direction, and we all know what that direction is.
Where is it?
It's going down.
All right, so putting you on the spot, who do you think is going down? Who are you sure of?
I feel like, the way West Ham is playing right now, you get me, even though you get me, they were not able to, they got a result, they drew yesterday, you get me, they didn't get the result, in the previous game, but the way they are playing, you can identify players that are in form in the Tottenham team, you get me, that shows that team is heads on to survive, even though they are occupying one of those positions right now. That puts a lot of pressure on Nottingham Forest ahead of them, as well as Tottenham Hotspur, who we just discovered. I feel like Leeds United are playing too well and have some buffer and will survive. So I feel it's a 5-man race for that relegation position. Wolves is already gone. I don't see any way for them in it. Burnley, they're already down. They can only be spoilers like they did the spoiling or recently against Chelsea. You can go and ask the Chelsea fans about that one. You get me, So it's interesting to see how this one plays out, but it's definitely a 5-man horse race for me.
It's a 5-man relegation battle according to Cornelius. But tonight, two teams that are not in the relegation race, but they are definitely trying to get into the Champions League and European spots. It's Everton versus Man United, and it's going to be a tough one.
Oh yeah, I'm also with the results. At the Chelsea game, Chelsea really needed that point to try and put some, to keep up the pace ahead of United. That dropping 2 points didn't do them any favors. Now United has the opportunity, and of course they'll be coming up against an Everton side who we know on their day they're a match for any team. The physicality David Moyes brings to that club side, you get me, and the way he has fans, rowing at, in their, of course not at Goodison Park anymore, at their new stadium, you get me. It's going to be a difficult game for Manchester United. Manchester United showed some, they were able to pull off, a late one last time. You get me. They didn't play really well in the last game, considering the bar Carrick set in his first 3 games. Interesting to see how they fare when they come up against Everton side. But one thing is for sure, they are not going to have an easy play on the pitch. They are going to have to fight for everything they get off that pitch today.
All right, Tiano Barry, Iliman Ndiaye, and Kenan Dewsbury Hall are all on 5 goals this season. And United have not lost under Michael Carrick. Are these the guys to put them to the sword? Because these guys are also guns blazing.
It's not an easy place to go. It's not an easy.
These guys look like if anybody's going to beat United, it's this type of team.
It's definitely not an easy place to go. And you can imagine the noise the Everton fans make. The pressure of that stadium at Goodison Park. They called it a small stadium. Even then, it wasn't a good place to go. It wasn't nightmarish to go and play, kick the ball out there. Now they're in a bigger stadium. The fans are going to be behind the team, and the David Moyes side, you won't expect anything less than extreme hard work on the pitch.
All right, Oladolupo on YouTube says Tottenham have not gotten a win in 2026, so they deserve to go down.
Oh yeah, their form, they're based on that form. They need to go down. I feel like the biggest, if they went down this season, where they will have made the biggest mistake was the sacking of Thomas Frank. Now, you trusted the manager you brought to steady the ship, try and steady things around the football club. Now you sacked him because the results were not coming. You could not blame him for the results not coming, but at least he had been with that team long enough to pull off some results at some key places, which will be key to their staying up. Now you're going to sack the manager. Now you're going to pull you sack the manager without having a plan. You had to make a quick decision to bring in Mr. Tudor, who they've just brought in, who we understand is a pragmatic coach who doesn't take nonsense and things like that. But the truth about it, he's not a magician. You get me? And you're talking about the Premier League. You get me? There are no easy points in the Premier League.
Okay. All right, no easy points in the Premier League. But let's also now talk about Nigerian stars on the continent. We said we were going to bring them to you. Let us start with a quote from Noni Madueke, who is Nigerian, by the way, even if he doesn't play for us. Don't worry. He says, I'm going to give Olaino his flowers. He names Olaino as one of the toughest players he has ever come against.
Oh, we know of the talent Olaino. Unfortunately, he was not able to feature in all of our qualifiers for the World Cup as well as the Nations Cup due to that knee injury he suffered. He's back to form, and he says he's playing. He's on the pitch, grass, playing football again. He's not missed a game, by the way. He starts every game, and he gives nothing less than 100% in every game. Special talent, Olaino.
All right, talking about special talent, Wilfred Ididi sadly had to leave the Turkish league to come home to bury his father, and he's back and he's already scoring goals. You know, he was amongst the goals when they won 4-0. That's Besiktas against Göztepe in the Turkish Super League. Indeed, he was amongst the goals.
Beautiful for Ndidi. For me, one of the most important players. Talking about the Super Eagles, the mentality he brings to the game, the hard work he brings to the game, and of course, unfortunately, he's lost his dad. So rest in peace. Staying
in Turkey, one name that you always see me beam when I mention, even when this one doesn't like it. His name is Paul Onuachu, and he can't stop scoring. No Nigerian player anywhere has scored as much as he has this season. Anything to say about that, sir?
Of course, he's the highest goal scorer in the Turkish league, and of course, he netted in a 2-1 win over KQ Racing Sport over the weekend again.
And what number is he on now? I need to remind you?
Listen, I'm not a fan. I'll not say I'm not a fan of Onuachu. I'm not one of his best fans. You get me? Because he's never been able to actually, to bring that his form in his club side to the Super Eagles. And I feel like he's a top striker everywhere he goes.
All right. We don't hear. He skipped the answer. 17th goal of the season. You know, because
a huge number. Huge number.
Now you know it's
how many international
it's huge.
In there? You see, that's my problem with him.
Peter Olayinka is back amongst the goals for Apoel. He scored also in the 81st minute in their Cypriot League win over Omonia yesterday.
Oh yeah, he's one player. Of course, remember him. He was in the Czech Republic before he moved to Cyprus, where he flies straight at the moment. And he's always been a top player. He's a winger, and he's consistent with his assist numbers and of course his goals.
Remember Akko Adams, the one with this celebration? He was not amongst the goals, but at least he also played an important role with a backheel assist for his team, and as they won at Etafe.
Oh, are you sure about that? I thought they were up against Rayo Vallecano this weekend, where he won the game. Maybe I have my stats wrong.
Yeah, I might be the one that's wrong too.
So, yeah, I feel he scored the winning goal against Rayo Vallecano over the weekend.
Yeah, in Sevilla's win, 1-0 win.
Yeah,
Chidozie Awaziem also, put in, a good shift alongside Calvin Bassey, who, of course, they didn't play the same thing. I'm saying he also put in a good shift. As usual, Calvin Bassey is world class. Like, it's about time these big teams really moved in. This guy is world class.
No, there's no doubt about it. Calvin's next club is going to be a big club. Fulham is a big club as it is, already. His next club is definitely going to be a big club because a lot of clubs out there, big clubs, are actually looking at him. But even talking about Calvin Bassey, you cannot help but talk about Alex Iwobi. The form Alex Iwobi is in at the moment for his Fulham side, of course, with teammates of Chukwueze and Calvin Bassey, is simply top notch. He is really playing the style of football we thought he could play when he first busted into the scene.
Okay, talking about busting into the scene, we have talked about Nigerian players and how they have done out there. But wait, I'm not done. Trust me. When he made the mid-season switch, everybody wanted him to succeed, but nobody knew it was going to be an instant success. I'm talking about the one and only Ademola Lookman.
fantastic signing for Atletico Madrid. I didn't see it as I knew he had to leave Atlanta because I mean he'd been there for a minute and trying to leave. I felt like as if he was going to wait till the summer and try to see if he could still walk that move to Bayern Munich. I felt like as if he'll be a perfect fit in Bayern Munich. But he's made his decision. He's made his way to Atletico Madrid, even though the results are not coming in for Atletico Madrid. That's their first win in a number of games. You get me, but one thing that has been consistent since the minute he's won that shirt, he's been on the score sheet and
he's been winning with them, even if it's not La Liga. He's done other competitions. Remember that they actually defeated Barcelona. And he played a big role in this.
Not defeated, trash Barcelona.
Yeah.
Sorry, Barcelona fans.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
So before we round up, let's also talk about a very terrible thing that happened in football. Tolu Arokodare, a Nigerian player, was one of the one of the many black players that were racially assaulted in the space of a week, especially this weekend. And it's really sad. Yes, he missed the penalty. Yes, the team lost. Yes, they're in the relegation battle. But is that enough for fans? I saw the writing that the guy did. I saw everything that those guys posted about him. Is that enough for fans? And what exactly is going on with this racism? There's a upsurge in racism.
Well, I mean, just when you think that these things are getting behind us, sadly, one of the saddest things in world sports today, racism, that topic is one topic that continues to, draw barriers. I mean, it's just sad to see in the game today that still happens. Yes, Tolu did miss a penalty. Yes, Tolu's form has been poor considering the amounts Wolves paid to bring him to the club. I mean, but that doesn't justify any kind of racism against him. Like you said, it's been a trend, not just this weekend, in the last couple of weeks. Talking about Vinicius in the Champions League out in Portugal. A lot of drama out there too. I mean, it's a difficult one, and I'll urge the FIFAs, the CAFs, I mean, the European, the UEFA fans to continue and to do everything possible to kick this out of our beautiful games. And I'm talking about not just football, sports-wide, sports generally around the world.
All right, kick this out of our game. Vinny Jr. is still on the table, and it's when these things happen that you actually realize that there are more racists out there than we ever expected. A lot of people are still, biased towards the fact that a black player came out to tell you what happened to him. And like I said at the Boom Bar last week, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying maybe we should look at the country that guy came from as one of the things that we're looking at. Just maybe. All right, that's how much we will be taking on the show today. We want to thank you for being a part of it. Remember that we'll be back same time, same station, same platforms next week, Monday, to bring you another amazing edition of Finix Sports. This is Sola Rogers signing out. And Cornelius?
I'll say bye-bye to you. We'll come your way again. Do have a beautiful day.
Right.